right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, episode 1013 of the show. I appreciate you all tuning in. And this is going to be a good one. You know, as anybody who has consistently followed along this winter, and if you have, I appreciate it. But as anybody knows who's been following, we have dove into pretty much every Yankee, every important Yankee at least. And we're continuing to do that as we enter the season here, just profiling and giving our expectations. And this is someone who, and I feel like I say this about a lot of guys, so maybe take what I say with a grain of salt sometimes. But I really do feel like this is someone, not just on the Yankees, but in baseball, doesn't get nearly enough hype. There should be a lot more buzz around him because of how amazing he is at baseball and the amazing things he can do with the baseball in his hands. This is a proven ace, okay, with a 141 career ERA plus, which puts him 19th all time on pitchers ever. That's a better figure than Roy Halladay. It's a better figure than Whitey Ford. It's a better figure than Koufax. He's one of the best players on the Yankees. You can argue he's the second best player, healthy or not healthy, this team. He's definitely a top 10 pitcher in the MLB. And honestly, if you made an argument to put him top 5 pitchers in the MLB, I would not be against that argument because I think he's that good. It's somebody who the Yankees need a lot, and they need him healthy, probably more than anybody healthy, just because, there are going to be question marks around Gerrit Cole, and even if he is healthy and he returns on time, I think the expectations are going to be a little bit lower. Carlos Rodon, I think there will be some question with the age and coming back from surgery. The expectations might be a little bit lower there. Luis Heel is a giant question mark at this point in his career. He's still trying to get back to where he was when he won the American League Rookie of the Year. And then you got two other promising young arms in Cam Schlittler and in Will Warren, who are young and talented, but when you're young, you could be unpredictable. So you never know what could be in the store for them in their second full big league seasons. Or I guess for Cam, it'll be his first. But that's all the reason to why I think this guy is the most important pitcher on the staff. Was so important in what he did last year after Gerrit Cole went down. We talked about Carlos Rodon a few days ago, but we're talking about Max Fried tonight. Max Fried brought in here on that contract, made some noise. Some people didn't like it. Some people liked it. I was kind of on the board of people who liked it after I sat on it. He was absolutely nails in his first season in pinstripes. Last season, he pitches 32 starts, throws 195 in the third innings, 164 hits, 189 strikeouts, 51 walks, 286 ERA, and a 110 whip. Just perfection. You could not have asked for better. He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant in his first wild card start against the Red Sox. He goes 6 1/3, no runs. And then obviously he struggled big time against Toronto in the ALDS, where he gave up 7 runs across 3. He is, though, coming back hungry, and he has talked about the last season recently, and he's talked about what he expects coming up this season, and made some comments that Yankees fans liked about basically just paraphrasing being World Series or bust, and if you're not first, you're last. So clearly coming back motivated after his rough start, but the Yankees need Max Fried healthy. And I know that he is a year older, and I know he's got some injury history himself. But this guy, as we saw last season, when he's healthy, when he's right, he is legitimate. And he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, I believe. Now, this might have changed going into last year, at least. He had the lowest ERA in baseball since the COVID season. So if that still stands, we're going on 6 years. So I would not be shocked if this guy won the American League Cy Young. That's how high I am on him. And I honestly feel like he is slept on around baseball. So we're going to talk about him in this episode 1013 here, Max Fried, and what to expect for Max Fried coming off of a fantastic first season in the Bronx. Stay with us.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 1013 of BD4. I appreciate you all tuning in. He is probably, Max Fried, my favorite starting pitcher in the game, at least among those who are healthy. For the very reason that he is, and this is so cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway, he is a true pitcher. He is not a thrower, right? As somebody who has pitched before, growing up my entire life, I pitched. I played baseball. I pitched the majority of the time. I loved pitching. I still love talking about pitching, and I love talking about the dynamics of pitching, the X's and O's of it, the details of it. And I feel like Max Fried is just a perfect example of somebody who you want to base your game off of if you're not gifted with, the Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal-like abilities. Because you look at someone like Max Fried, he's not somebody with overwhelming stuff. He's not going to throw 103. He's not going to put up insane chase rates and whiff rates and strikeout numbers. But what Max Fried is very good at doing is he's very good at pitching. He's very good at winning that chess match when he's on the mound and there's somebody standing in the batter's box. And why is he good at that? For a variety of reasons. This is somebody who has a very deep and very versatile mix of different types of pitches. He's got many different variations of his fastball, and he's got great secondaries to play off the fastball, and vice versa. He gets good life on his pitches. He gets great break. He still gets decent velocity. He throws strikes. He avoids the barrel. He induces very weak contact. He induces a lot of ground ball contact. And that's all because he's very good at tunneling his pitches. This is a term, pitch tunneling, that you hear often in baseball. And Max Fried, with such a deep mix, can tunnel north to south. He can tunnel east to west. He can tunnel hard stuff to slow stuff. He can go in zone, out zone, inner half of the plate, outer half of the plate. He just knows how to mix and match. And that's why he gets the results he does, despite not being a guy who racks up a bajillion strikeouts. His pitch mix last season consisted 28% cutter, 18% sinker, 17% curveball, 12% four seam, 12% sweeper, 11% changeup, and just 2% slider. So 5 pitch mix with an occasional 6th pitch mix in. very even distribution across the board there, as you heard. It's tough to hit that. It's very unpredictable when you don't know what's coming. You know, you got 18% sinker, 17% curve, 12% four seam, 12% sweeper, 11% change. It's like, what one of his secondaries is coming at me off the four seamer, off the cutter? You know, it could be any one of them. So for his fastballs, the cutter, the sinker, and the four seamer, he likes to use the four seam to both lefties and righties. But what is good about him is because he has so many pitches, if he needs to go hard stuff in for a lefty, that's what his sinker's for. If he needs to go hard stuff into a righty, that's what the cutter's for. For his off speed and breaking stuff, if he needs to go soft stuff away for a lefty, that's what he uses the sweeper for. If he's got to go soft stuff away for a righty, that's why he's got the changeup. He just has the mix to do anything he wants out there. But the good thing about Fried is he has the ability to paint, right? He doesn't always have to traditionally approach pitching like that. He doesn't have to use this for that type of hitter and that pitch for this type of hitter. He can backdoor, he can front door, he can front hip, he can back foot. That's why he survives without the elite strikeout stuff. So I want to talk a little bit more about that in just a sec. We're going to head to one more break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the show. Max Fried. Just talked about him and his pitch mix and the way he attacks hitters. You know, you would figure that somebody with a 6-pitch mix will have a couple of weaknesses, one or two weaknesses somewhere. You look into the metrics and you go and look at each individual pitch that Max Fried threw last year. He has above average numbers on every single pitch last season. Talking about results. Like if you look at his WOBA, his weighted on base average, on all 6 of his pitches, it's better than average. And he's also better than average in expected WOBA on 5 out of the 6 pitches that he threw last year. And the only one that he wasn't above average in was his slider, which again was used 2% of the time. And it was only, I think, 7% worse than league average in WOBA. Expected WOBA. He just has figured it out. Every pitch just works because he knows how to do it. That cutter is a very versatile pitch. It gets some ground balls for him. It gets some swing and miss for him. It's a good setup pitch. The sinker, also pretty versatile. It's got over 3 more inches of induced drop than your average left-handed sinker does. It has an average of -8 degrees in launch angle. So when batters connect with it, they're hitting it right into earth. It's an automatic ground ball. It's got a 25% whiff rate, which for a fastball, that's not a bad swing and miss rate. And remember, his sinker is something that when he came to the Yankees, Matt Blake brought him right into the pitching lab and he tweaked the grip on it, went from a 2-seam to a 1-seam, and turned that thing into a really good weapon for him. The curveball, that lefty curveball he throws, 12-6, probably the best curveball in the business. If not, it's top 3. Super slow curve, sits 75 miles an hour, over 7 more inches of induced drop than your average lefty curve. I'll say that again, more than 7 inches of drop compared to your average left-handed curveball. So that thing is really moving. He spins it well, almost 3,000 RPMs on it, 42% whiff rate. Gets lots of soft contact too when they do connect with it, which is why it's got such a great slash, 190 batting average, 217 WOBA. League average in WOBA is 313. So the 4-seam fastball, it sat 96 miles an hour last year. We've seen him when he really wants to get it up to 98. He'll have his games where he wants to put a couple of extra ticks on it, dial it up, and he can do that. Not a bad batting average on the four-seamer for a four-seam fastball to be at a 211 average against. Really good, because that's usually the pitch that has the highest average. And not a bad whiff rate, 25% as well in whiff rate for the four-seamer. Get to the sweeper, it gets about 4.5 more inches of induced horizontal break than your average left-handed sweeper, and about 5 more inches of induced drop than your average left-handed sweeper. So another pitch that moves incredibly well. 26% put away with that pitch, 36% whiff rate. The changeup, decent drop on it. It sits in terms of exit velocity, 82.5 miles an hour, so it doesn't get hit hard. An average launch angle of -2 degrees. So again, soft ground balls. That's why you got a 268 slug on the changeup. And the whiff rate, 29%, not terrible. So he just gets good results. On Fangraphs, he was last year 94th percentile in Stuff Plus. On Baseball Savant, 94th percentile in pitch run value, 94th percentile in fastball run value, 67th percentile in breaking ball run value, 72nd percentile in off-speed run value. And then you go up and down the charts. I mean, he was 78th percentile in expected ERA, 92nd percentile in exit velo, 76th percentile in walk rate, 74th percentile in barrel rate, 76th percentile in hard hit rate, and 89th percentile in ground ball rate. So that's another thing. You think about it, like with Jazz Chisholm back at second base for a full season, with Jose Caballero at least at shortstop for now, with Ryan McMahon, your full-time third baseman for the season. That's a perfect formula in your infield for a ground ball pitcher like Max Fried, right? And he's a guy who gets ground balls a lot to the pull side. So with McMahon over there and with Caballero over there, that's not bad. I'm not sure when Fried's first spring training start's going to be. I would imagine soon, because we've had about a week's worth of games already. But I do know that he is working with Pettit. That can't hurt. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us expect him to be more of the same in 2026. The Steamer projections on Fangraphs have him throwing 189 innings, posting a 3.28 ERA, 23% K rate, and a 7% walk rate. That's good. The Zips projections have him throwing 171 innings, 3.37 ERA, 22% K rate, 7% walk rate. And the Oopsie projections on Fangraphs have him throwing 188 innings, 3.32 ERA, 23% K rate, and an 8% walk rate. So those are the projections on him. Some of the projections on Fangraphs, I think that's pretty accurate. Remember, projections do tend to be a little more conservative. So Max Fried coming off an excellent first season with the Yanks, expecting more of the same. So you let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments, and I appreciate you all tuning in. I'll see you next time. Go Yanks. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.